Before we start with the main presentation, I'd just like to quickly remind you that you can share your feedback and engage with the Hayes Salary Guide conversation on social media. Simply follow us on Twitter at Hayes News or connect with us on Facebook or LinkedIn and use the hashtag Hayes Salary Guide. I'm Akash Marwaha from Hayes, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of our latest salary guide. By way of brief introduction, I worked for Hayes for 21 years and I'm responsible for our business in Scotland. Just a reminder that you can type questions at any time during the webinar, and we'll spend a few minutes at the end going over some of these. This is the 5th year we've produced our UK guide, covering 12 specialist skilled and technical areas supported by regional salary data for most roles. It is based on salary information provided by 1,800 recruiting experts from our 93 UK offices. As well as using our own extensive insight to inform the guide, we also launched a survey designed to ascertain employee satisfaction, employers' concerns, and gather general insight into the market. This secured almost 23,000 responses from employers and employees. To start, let's set the scene by quickly recapping on last year's findings. In 2017, 59% of organisations expected their business activity to increase. 71% said they were planning to recruit. There was a 1.8% average salary increase, and 55% of employees were considering moving jobs in the coming 12 months. This year, against a backdrop of continued economic and political uncertainty, hiring plans, which are the highest since our survey began 5 years ago, are under threat by skill shortages in an increasingly competitive labour market. Let's take a look at what our survey results showed in more detail. Let's start with the positives. Although there is obviously ongoing uncertainty, employers' business outlook remains robust, and employers are optimistic about the market and their businesses. There has been an increase in the number of employers predicting growth. 62% of employers forecasted an increase in business activity levels in 2016, pre-EU referendum, 57% immediately following the referendum, 59% last year, and 61% this year. And consistent with last year, only 5% expect a decrease in activity. This is all good news and shows that employers are optimistic about business activity in spite of continued political and economic uncertainty surrounding the outcome of Brexit negotiations. This optimism suggests organisations remain focused on the opportunities ahead, regardless of wider market uncertainty. In Scotland, the sentiment is slightly more optimistic, with only 4% of those surveyed expecting a decrease in activity. This optimism is also translating into increased hiring plans, with employers continuing to invest in their recruitment and talent management strategies. Recruitment clearly remains a priority for employers, with 76% saying they plan to hire in the next 12 months. In fact, this is the highest percentage we have recorded in the 5 years of this report. When looking specifically at the hiring plans of Scottish employers, we can see that they have plans to hire both permanent and temporary employees. However, their plans to hire permanent employees are lower than the national average of 62%, and their plans to hire temporary employees are higher than the national average of 35%. Despite the positive activity and hiring outlook, employers are faced with huge recruitment challenges. Employers are in agreement that the talent market is at its most competitive for some time. 92% of employers say they experienced skill shortages in the last year, with 78% of employers experiencing difficulty hiring permanent staff and 63% reporting challenges hiring temporary or contract staff. Skill shortages are apparent across many functional areas. Knocking leadership and managerial skills off the top spot, operations and technical skills are most needed by organisations this year, which is an increase of 14% from last year. Employers also expressed increased concern about competition from other employers, 48% this year, an increase from 45% last year, and applicants with unrealistic salary requirements, 49% compared to 44% last year. These hiring challenges look set to continue, as 68% of employers expect to experience a shortage of suitable applicants when recruiting over the next 12 months. The importance of effective recruitment and retention plans is apparent, as 28% of employers do not believe they have the talent needed to achieve current business objectives, an increase from 24% last year. The consequence of these ongoing skill shortages is being felt in employee morale and workplace productivity. Almost half of employers reported that skill shortages have had a negative impact on employee morale. This is an increase of 5% from last year. Even more employers say skill shortages have had a negative impact on productivity in their organisation. 41% also reported a negative impact on their ability to deliver projects, and 28% say skill shortages are adversely affecting their organisation's ability to provide a good service to their customers. The result of this competitive environment and urgent need to address the skills gap is a continued pressure on employers to boost salaries. In the past year, employers increased salaries at a greater rate than they predicted. 73% increased salaries in the last 12 months, higher than the 67% who expected to when asked last year. The overall average increase in salaries for the UK is 1.9%, but in areas of increased skill shortages, pay rises have been higher. In Scotland, average salaries rose by 1.6%, which is slightly below the UK average. The fact that salaries in Scotland tend to be lower than other parts of the UK, and the fact that less employers are looking to take on permanent employees compared to the rest of the UK could account for some of this. Pay rises were also larger than anticipated, as 30% of employers increased salaries by over 2.5%, compared to just 19% who planned to. In areas of increased skill shortages, pay rises have been higher than the 1.9% UK overall. Both legal and construction and property have seen an average salary increase of 2.7%, and HR has seen an average increase of 2.1%. The result of these salary increases has been a higher level of salary satisfaction among employees. 61% of employees say they are happy with their salaries, compared to 43% last year. There has also been a drop in the number of requests for pay rises. Only 26% of employees asked for a pay rise in the past 12 months, compared to 31% the year before. Despite higher pay rises than expected and greater salary satisfaction, salary remains the biggest motivator for employees to change jobs. Employees' intentions to change jobs remains consistent with last year. 56% say they expect to move within 12 months. Looking back at these 12 months, 42% of professionals say they moved role in the last year, and an additional 40% considered it. This shows an openness to move from candidates, and a total talent pool of 82% that can be harnessed by employers to address their talent challenges. Of the 42% of professionals who say they moved role in the last year, the most common reason given, 27%, was because their salary was too low. Among those who do not currently intend to move roles this year, 44% admit a better salary and benefits package would tempt them to change jobs. Pension provision above the legal minimum was the second most popular benefit after annual leave, as employees are aware of the financial benefits of planning for the future. While the importance of effective talent attraction is apparent, so too are retention strategies. Existing employees have demands. For example, employee movement due to salaries may be fueled by a mismatch in understanding and expectations around pay. While 79% of employees say it is important that their organisation is transparent about how pay levels and pay rises are set, only 36% feel this is currently the case. Another key driver of employee movement this year is likely to be around career prospects. 53% of employees feel uncertain or negative about their career prospects in their current organisation, a 5% year-on-year increase. In fact, after salary, career progression is one of the main reasons employees are planning to move jobs. Employers continue to underestimate the appeal of offering a positive work-life balance to prospective employees and the value this can have as a tactic in competing for talent. Only 18% of employers think work-life balance is important to attract staff, while 30% of professionals prioritise this when considering a new role. The number of employees rating their work-life balance as very poor to average has remained fairly static at 45%, indicating clear potential for employers to appeal to those seeking a more positive balance. The main request to improve work-life balance for 39% of professionals was a change in working hours, including adopting flexible working. While employers may be concerned about the impact of changing working hours when already struggling with staff shortages, offering and promoting these options is a valuable aid to attraction and retention. Benefits to aid work-life balance, such as generous holiday entitlement, are also attractive to employees. 45% of employees in Scotland also rank their current work-life balance as very poor to average. In what has been a whistle-stop tour of some of our key survey findings, I'll just take a few moments now to summarise the key points of our report. First, we have seen that despite the wider uncertainty caused by the ongoing Brexit negotiations, employer confidence and activity for the year ahead remains positive. As a result, recruitment remains a top priority for most organisations, reaching the highest level since our survey began 5 years ago. However, continued skill shortages and exasperated by increased competition from other employers look set to be the key challenges in the year ahead. These challenges may impact negatively on employee morale and productivity. Salaries are on the rise, but employees are still tempted to move role for a higher salary and benefits package. It's clear there is a significant active and passive talent pool which employers can engage with, but they need to offer the right salary and benefits package as well as a positive work-life balance and clear career prospects. Standing out is essential in today's market. While employers may once have looked to the same handful of companies as their competition for staff, employees today are juggling multiple options, whether that's freelance work or self-employment, promising startups in emerging sectors, or global opportunities. Employers need to be on the front foot and lead with a strong offer of salary and career potential, and a seamless applicant experience if they want to attract the best candidates in today's market. Last year, 42% of candidates moved roles, and another 40% considered it, showing a real openness from candidates to move roles for the right offer. Being clear about what makes you stand out as an employer, from salary and benefits to flexible working options, will help you appeal to candidates waiting for the perfect opportunity to move, who may be spoilt for choice in today's market. As 92% of employers have experienced skill shortages and 68% say their top recruitment challenge is a shortage of suitable applicants, employers will need to be more creative to tackle these difficulties. 17% of employers experiencing skill shortages had responded by increasing training budgets, a slight decrease from last year, suggesting that there is more employers can do to address their immediate skills gap with greater investment in training. Hiring for potential rather than just experience, and investing in internal development programs will not only address skills gaps, but help mitigate the negative impact on employee morale associated with staff shortages, by providing the career development opportunities employees are seeking. As skill shortages intensify, looking for talent in the same places every time is no longer a reliable strategy. Employers can widen their talent pool by looking at different sources that pertain to diverse populations of talent, in addition to assessing their full application journey for inclusiveness. Online application processes that reinforce internal biases can result in loss of good quality candidates. From ensuring recruitment materials portray an organisation's commitment to diversity and inclusion, to implementing recruitment campaigns that attract talent from traditionally underrepresented groups, to be competitive in today's marketplace, employers must review their attraction strategy through a diversity and inclusion lens. Thank you. I will now open the floor to any questions. So a couple of questions that are coming through. First question here is, are you planning on sending any copies of the slides? I'll come back to that. There'll also be a recording available, so I'll pick that up at the end. Some other questions that have come through. Do you expect salaries to continue to rise next year? I think what the survey has shown is that despite ongoing market uncertainty, especially with regards to the latest Brexit negotiations, employers are telling us that they will continue to raise salaries in the year ahead. Skill shortages continue to be prevalent, so I think it's inevitable that salaries will increase. But it's important that we remember that salary is not the only factor for potential candidates. You know, career progression, and we talked about that in the survey, positive work-life balance, which we've now been talking about for 2 to 3 years, and I understand that's quite challenging, but there still seems to be a massive room for improvement there. They're all important factors when individuals are considering their next move or planning to stay with their current employer. Another question that has come through, other than transparency and career prospects, what other reasons are employees stating for considering leaving their current employer? What we've found so far in the survey is that the main reason remains salary, and that is a big indicator, in fact, on why individuals will move jobs. We talked about transparency and pay scales. We talked about career prospects, work-life balance, benefits, and offering a flexible benefits package are key, so that individuals can dip in and choose what benefits are relevant to them. All of that is extremely important in order to retain and attract staff. Another question that we've got coming through, not coming thick and fast now, right? Another question we've got is, what can employers do if they're not able to increase salaries? Okay. I think it's then looking, I think sometimes if organisations have constraints because of maybe the size of the business or because of the job architecture within that organisation, it's difficult to offer salaries out with a range in order to try and attract people or get people to join the organisation. I think it's really, really important in that situation to focus on the things that we know attract people or retain people, and that's some of the stuff that we've just talked about in the previous question, which is career progression and is there an opportunity within those organisations to offer further career progression, the work-life balance element which keeps coming up, you know, flexible working, which is absolutely key. So it's important that we understand that salary plays a major part, but it's also important to understand that there are other things that we can do. Just bear with me for 2 seconds because I've got lots coming through here. Some of them are quite repetitive, so public sector. Hold on. Public sector constraints, salary bands and grades, benefits restrict, no bonus required. How do we compete? I think that's always been a challenge within the public and private sector. We've picked up on some of that in terms of some of the sort of boundaries or parameters that are put in with salary grades and job grades. I think that it is well known that from a public sector perspective there are benefits of working within that environment, whether it be the additional benefits that can be offered, the greater flexibility. It seems that public sector is a little bit ahead of the private sector when it comes to that. So public sector can still be an attractive place to work, provided we are branding it in the right way and advertising it in the right way and promoting it in the right way. And I think one of the big things that we notice is that from a public sector perspective, maybe we're not promoting that opportunity as well as we should, and there are so many benefits and opportunities of working within the public sector that the private sector struggle to compete with, and it's how do organisations within the public sector utilise that to really promote that opportunity within that sector. So another question that's come through, when you've attracted talent, what can we do to develop top talent to make sure we retain them? We talked in the survey about investment, upskilling, development. It's a big feature, and when we did our What Workers Want report several months ago, we talked a lot about investment and what was really important to individuals was the feeling is that they were being developed. Obviously, what training you offer is specific to the industry and the sector and the type of job types that the individuals deploy. But I think that having a formal training program where you can invest and show your desire to invest and help upskill people, what we've shown is that one of the ways of tackling some of the skill shortages is actually maybe recruiting people that are not quite at the level that you need, and actually offering that investment and offering that development to create that skill set internally within the business. And my belief is that, and it's just a belief that I have, but my belief is that you would get more loyalty from those individuals if they feel that they are being invested in. Is there any information of this type specifically for SMEs and the challenges this brings by the size and nature of the organisation? The report isn't cut by the size of the organisation, although I do appreciate and understand that when you're in a smaller organisation, it's maybe more difficult to offer some of those opportunities or have the collateral or have the infrastructure to maybe showcase the opportunity as well as some of the larger organisations. And I think that whereas I think SMEs have a unique opportunity in that there's probably less red tape that allows them to be much more flexible in the things that they can do to attract and retain people. But I also do appreciate it might be much more difficult to actually attract those people, and maybe the infrastructure doesn't actually allow you to facilitate and showcase those opportunities as much. But I'm happy to pick that up separately if the individual who asked that question is happy to put their details back in. I'm happy to pick that up offline and see if we can give some more detail around the SME space. So a question that's been asked is, I maybe missed it, but did you say what the average pay rise is in the private sector? No, we didn't. The average pay rise across the UK is 1.9% across public and private, and in Scotland it's 1.6%. Could you advise the market segments which we surveyed did the downturn in the oil and gas industry impact the statistics? The survey did not incorporate oil and gas as a business. So oil and gas has not impacted any of the results. Okay, I think that's covered everyone. Okay, so thank you very much for those questions. That's more questions. I've done this now for 5 years, and that's more questions than we've ever been asked, so thank you very much for that. I hope you've found today's session a useful insight into how the UK economy, employment and recruitment are faring. I'd like to extend my thanks to all of you for attending. If you would like to request a copy of our guide, please speak to your usual contact or complete the form on our webpage, and we would be delighted to look into more detail and what help your organisation might need over the coming year. A recording of the webinar will be available in the next 2 to 3 days on hayes.co.uk, and a link will be sent to you in due course. Thanks for your time this afternoon. Thank you very much.